film starts and we are shown a boat in the middle of the sea, on which there was a man, and he had been living on this boat for a long time, not by his own will, but by compulsion. His name is Mariner. He had made this boat just like his house, and he had to stay here because this is the time when all the glaciers have melted and the water level has increased a lot, due to which there is no trace of the earth. It's completely over. So now those people who are alive, they are wandering in the sea in boats and ships, but they still hope that there is a small piece of land in the last part of the world where they can settle down and easily spend their lives. After that, the mariner goes in search of food in the water to catch fish. After searching for a long time, he does not find anything, so he returns to his boat. When he sees another boat, he talks to the owner of the boat. He says that the rule of the sea is that when two strangers meet in the sea, they help each other, they can exchange their belongings with each other. But the other man refuses that. No, I don't want to exchange any of my belongings with you, nor do I need your help. After which he starts leaving from there with his boat. Actually, the thing is that he had stolen water from the mariner's boat. He felt that he was calling me to him by an excuse so that the matter does not escalate. He thinks it is necessary to go. At the same time, some seafarers also come there. Then when the man on the boat goes a little further, he starts stealing water from the mariner. When the mariner gets very angry, he starts running his boat fast behind him. He attacks the man's boat and destroys it and leaves from here. After which the seafarers also came very close to the man. They attack him and kill him. After this, the mariner goes to a tribe in the sea where he actually came to sell his belongings to this tribe, but they refused to buy his belongings because there was nothing useful in his belongings. Everything was useless. After which he shows them the mud in a big bottle. After seeing this, the chief of the tribe asks him to come inside. Actually, because of the water everywhere, the mud can sell at very high prices, and the demand for the mud was also very high because grain can be grown in it. The price of that mud is set. So they talk to the mariner about giving 4 coins in return, but because the mud was very precious, the mariner asks for 8 coins for it, on which they are accepted and the coins are given to him. The money he takes to go to a shop there to buy things, but we see that the shop was not at all, because there was nothing to buy except a few things. The mariner buys some water and tomato plants from there because there was a shortage of water and the seawater could not be drunk. In return, he gives half of his money to the owner of the shop. His name was Helen. Now when the mariner was going from there, some people of the tribe come to him with a girl and say that if you marry this girl, you can take whatever you want from here. Now the people of the tribe wanted this because the mariner was very brave and powerful, whereas the people of this tribe were cowards. That's why they believed that after marriage, the child of the mariner would also be brave like him. But he clearly refused to marry her and started going from there, which makes the people of the tribe feel that the mariner is not a human but a water fairy, because he was wandering alone in his boat since so long, and today if he was getting a chance to marry, he refused, whereas if he was really a human, he would never refuse. So they did not let him go from there and caught him. Then one of them sees a mark behind the ear of the mariner, which is behind the ears of the water fairies. When he sees it, he gets scared and throws it into the water, after which they take it out of the water and lock it in a cage. Now they think of drowning him in the water and killing him because they used his body as manure after killing any human, and after killing the mariner, they were going to do the same with his body. But before they do this, some sea robbers attack their tribe. Then in a hurry, everyone starts running here and there. Now he was not an ordinary robber, but he was very dangerous and rich because he had very big and expensive weapons. Apart from this, there were some flying ships which no one had at this time. They constantly fire bullets at the tribe with their weapons, because of which the tribe is in a bad state. There was smoke, everything was broken, the whole tribe was completely destroyed. Then when the owner of the shop sees the mariner drowning, she comes to him and she says, "I can save you, but for this you will have to take me on your boat," for which he agrees. Then Helen immediately breaks the lock of the cage and takes him out, after which he takes Helen and her daughter on his boat. Now here we find out that Helen's daughter has a tattoo on her waist, which is actually a map of an island, and this is the place where there is a lot of land and these people can settle there. Here we find out the secret that the mariner is really a water fairy. That's why he can breathe in the water. He tells Helen that one of you or your daughter will have to die because we have very little water to drink, and if one of you dies, then all 3 of us will die because of thirst. Hearing this, Helen gets very worried, but she somehow convinces the mariner to keep herself and her daughter alive. "I want to live." Then we see the leader of the dangerous robbers, who was blind with one eye but very angry. He tells his people that somehow I want that child who has a map on his stomach, after which he gives a lot of cigarettes to all his friends and tells them to have fun along with them. He was enjoying himself, but then an old man comes and tells him the oil of the ship will be finished in a few days. Hearing this, the leader gets angry. Now here we find out that he is a little crazy as well as being blind, because he did what his heart wanted. Then no matter what the result is, here too he starts doing something like this. He was going to light his cigarette with the matchstick and throw it in the oil tanker, but before the tanker caught fire, his ship would have been destroyed. A man grabs the matchstick and extinguishes it to save the ship from being destroyed. After that, the leader sends his army to catch that tattooed girl there. The mariner was taking Helen and her daughter in his boat, but then the leader's army comes and attacks them with an aeroplane. Then to fight them, to bring weapons, the mariner goes to the lower part of the ship. Helen sees this and thinks that perhaps the mariner has left us and run away. That's why she herself attacks other people's ships with a weapon. Then as soon as the arrow hits her ship, it does not get destroyed, but the rope gets stuck on the ship. Now the robber's ship starts moving around their boat, but then somehow the mariner comes and cuts the rope so that the robber's ship is free and goes from there. Now Helen had lost an arrow of that weapon. That's why the mariner is very angry with her and her daughter. To punish them, he cuts their hair and then they start their journey again. They were moving forward, but then they see a ship in the water. Helen says that we should go to that ship so that we can get something to eat from there. Although the mariner did not want to go to that ship, but he listens to Helen and goes to the owner of the ship. He goes there and finds out that he is actually a merchant, and he talks about buying Helen here, but in return, he had nothing to give to the mariner. But then he shows a paper to the mariner now, because there was a shortage of paper and no one had paper in this era. So the mariner tells Helen to go to the merchant for half an hour in exchange for that paper, and then as soon as Helen goes to him, he takes her to the lower part of the ship he had just gone. Then the mariner comes behind him and tells him that your time is over, but because it hasn't even been 5 minutes yet, the merchant's mind goes crazy. He attacks the mariner with a knife, but because the mariner was much more powerful than him, he kills him with his own knife. Now the mariner knew that Helen and her daughter were very hungry, so he jumps into the water and catches a very big fish, after which they eat their fill. Now as time went by, the mariner and Helen's friendship was increasing, where they had become very good friends. That's why he also teaches Helen's daughter to swim now, where before he didn't like the two of them. Now they were each other's friends. Now, one day the mariner sees that there is another boat behind his boat. Now she doesn't understand anything about whose boat this is, but when Helen sees that boat, she understands that it belongs to the seafarers. She tells the mariner about this and also that they have come to take my daughter because there is a map of a large land on her back, which is an island. When the mariner hears this, he says, "I don't believe it. It's impossible because the whole world has been destroyed. How can this land be?" Helen says, "This is true. This land is really there because when I found this girl, she had mud in her hand, so you can guess that the mud can only be found on the ground." Then the secret is revealed that that girl is not Helen's daughter, but she found her in the water when she was drowning, and then Helen saved her life. Now hearing this, the mariner was very angry. That's why he locks Helen in a submarine and takes her into the depths of the water. Submarine is actually a small boat that is closed from all sides, and it is used only to go into the depths of the sea. Now Helen comes to the depths of the water and sees that there are magnificent buildings below which have drowned here due to the destruction of everything. Then when they come back up, they see that the seafarers have come very close to them. They come to their boat and catch them. The seafarer asks them, "Where is the girl who was with you now?" Because they really didn't know anything about the girl. They say, "We don't know this." Hearing this, the seafarer gets angry. That's why he orders them to kill them. Now we see the girl who was not anywhere else but under the same boat. She comes up after hearing the killing of the two. Seeing this, the seafarer immediately catches her. Now she had found the girl, but still he remains firm on his words. That is, he orders the seafarer and Helen to be killed immediately. But before that, the seafarer takes Helen into the water. The seafarers fire bullets at Helen, but somehow she escapes. Helen says to the seafarer, "I am a human. I cannot breathe in the water." Hearing this, the seafarer gives her his breath because, as I told you, she was a mermaid. Then after a while, when they come up, they see that the seafarers have destroyed their boat, but now because they didn't have any ship or boat, they have to come to that destroyed boat. After that, they sit there and start talking. Then the seafarer gets a piece of paper in the water, which was the same thing that Sudagar had given to her in exchange for Helen. This paper also had a picture of that land. When he sees it, he understands that in fact, there is still a part of the land where there is mud and life is possible there, but the map to go to that place is not with anyone else, but with that girl. That is the tattoo on her stomach. That is why the seafarer decides that he will find that girl by doing anything, but the condition of their ship was not such that they would travel on it. After that, a man comes in an airplane and starts calling Helen. As soon as he sees him, Helen recognizes him because he was from his tribe. Smart thinking, so now he puts them both in his boat, after which he goes out to find those robbers. After searching for a long time, the seafarer finds the robbers' ship, where he secretly gets on that ship, after which he goes in front of the chief and says that hand over that girl to us, but that girl clearly refuses to give. Now after hearing these cars, the mariner puts the bomb he brought with him in the oil tanker, because of which there is a big explosion there and a lot of robbers are killed. After this, the mariner starts looking for the girl, but the chief takes the girl and sits in an airplane and starts going from there. But before he could take the girl from there, the mariner only attacks with his own hand and stops the ship, because of which his ship was also destroyed. Then the man sitting in the oil tanker and Helen come here, and with the help of this, the mariner and the girl are pulled up. Then they see that there is a big explosion in the robbers' ship, because of which all the remaining robbers are also killed. Then we see that the chief of the robbers is not dead yet, but he is still alive, who shoots the mariner. Now that bullet does not hit the mariner, but in a hurry, the girl falls from that well. Now the mariner sends his 3 boats to catch the girl, but before he could catch the girl at the right time, the mariner saves her by hanging on the rope, after which the 3 boats collide with each other and are destroyed, and finally they also die. There was also a chief on a ship, so now his game is over. After this we see that Helen's companion knew how to see the map. They reach the place where the land is through the map on the girl's stomach. They are very happy to come here. They also get a hut here. As soon as they go in, they get 2 banners here, which was not someone else's but the parents of the girl, because this hut was his. There was also a tattoo weapon here, with the help of which his parents made a tattoo on the girl's stomach. After this, the mariner leaves these 3 there, takes his boat and goes into the water, because now he liked to stay in the water, after which Helen and the girl watch him go.